Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great. Here with the NFL Fantasy Football matchup previews. Going to tell you guys, who I like to start for every matchup. Maybe guys to stay away from, and help you guys hopefully have a nice day with your matchups and come out this weekend with a win, which is the most important. So we're going to hop into it. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Going to be covering fantasy all season, so stay tuned for all of that action. And we'll hop in it. 14 matchups. I'll cover the Monday night fantasy football game on Monday. First game, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll kind of make these matchups pretty short here. Cardinals, you're starting Kyler Murray. He should have a monster game again. He's been awesome. Love Chase Edmonds as a nice flex player. He should have a nice game here. He's been involved pretty heavily. All the receiver options. You love D-Hop. I would know he said he was questionable. Be sure to check his status on Sunday. He hasn't really practiced too much, but he kind of always does that. Be sure to check his status. Love Rondale Moore, and I think Rondale Moore, he's kind of turned into that number 2 on that team. I don't hate flexing maybe AJ Green and Christian Kirk as a flex if you're desperate or if you're in a double flex. So I think all the options are in play for the Cardinals offense. And then go ahead and start the Cardinals D. They should get a lot of sacks and turnovers on the defensive end. On the Jag side, if you have to start James Robinson, go ahead. I understand all the running back injuries, but he's probably gives you a safer floor, but he's not a very exciting play. You're hoping he can get you 10 points. That's kind of the hope with James Robinson now. Love Marvin Jones and DJ Chark. I think those are two really good plays. We'll see if Laviska Shenault ends up playing. But other than that, Marvin Jones is probably the safest play. He's been the number 1 target for Jacksonville. Chark's more of a hope and flex play at best. Maybe he gets more involved this week, but I love Marvin Jones. I think that's probably the only really good player you can really play on this Jacksonville team. Next matchup, we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Giants. On the Falcons side, Matt Ryan hasn't really been good. I don't think he's even a streaming consideration here unless you're super desperate. But I think there's still better options on the waiver wire. I love Mike Davis. Cordell Patterson, I think, is a really interesting flex play this week. Looks like they're kind of in maybe a 60-40 split. Mike Davis, this offense is very bad, so the production from this whole team is going to be pretty bad. But Mike Davis was able to be involved in the passing game, him and Cordell. So I think there's pretty good value in both of those running backs. And, you're going to start Ridley. You're hoping for better days for Ridley. Hopefully he gets more involved, more touchdown opportunities. And you're going to start Kyle Pitts. He had a decent game last game, so hopefully there's better days ahead for that Falcons offense. Let's hope. Then on the Giants side, love Daniel Jones as a good streaming quarterback this week. Back-to-back weeks with a rushing touchdown. Has been really good in the running game and, hasn't looked horrible like he has been. So I think he's a really good streaming option against this very bad Atlanta defense. I think Saquon, this has got to be the game for Saquon up against this Atlanta defense. That's a good game for Saquon to get some solid production here and hopefully get into the end zone here. So I don't hate playing Saquon. Still makes you nervous, but I do like Saquon here. And the receiving options. I do like Galladay and Sterling Shepard. I think those are two good options. And if Evan Ingram does end up playing, I don't hate Evan Ingram. The tight ends are pretty slim here. So don't hate that option. Love the Giants pass catchers and running in this matchup here. Next matchup, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions. On the Ravens side, love Lamar Jackson. He's going to be able to run all over this Detroit team. I love Tyson Williams. He should get the bulk of the work here. Latavius Murray, if you're desperate, maybe for a flex or RB2, if you're dealing with a bunch of injuries, he could find his way into the end zone and get you 10. That's probably his ceiling. Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins are two pretty good options as a wide receiver 2/flex play. And Mark Andrews, hopefully it's a good game for Mark Andrews. It's been kind of disappointing so far this season, but I think better days are ahead for Andrews. Perfect matchup for him to get right. And on the Detroit side, you can fire up Swift, Jamal Williams, and then TJ Hawkinson. Maybe Quintez Cephas. I think those are the 4. I think they're definitely streamable. I think they'll be down a bit, and they'll be working to throw the ball a lot. So Goff's more than capable of getting those guys the ball, so I think those options are pretty playable on the Detroit side. All right, next matchup, we have the Chicago Bears versus the Cleveland Browns. On the Chicago side, you're starting Montgomery. You're not feeling too great. You're hoping he can get in the end zone here against this tough Cleveland Browns defense. With Justin Fields, we'll see how they work together with Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is a pretty decent streaming option if you're in a deeper league. Could have that rushing yard upside, rushing touchdown upside. Going to be tough. We'll see how he plays. It's kind of a wait and see. You're starting Allen Robinson. You're hoping he gets more involved. He's been kind of disappointing so far through 2 weeks. But you drafted him as a wide receiver 1-2 option, so hopefully Justin Fields gives him the ball a lot. And maybe Darnell Mooney as a flex play. Maybe he can get that deep ball and Justin Fields takes some shots, but I think he's more of a DFS play. I think Cleveland, no Jarvis Landry. Odell making his return. If you have Odell, maybe you're in a double flex or maybe you're unsure about your flex. I think Odell could be a flex play. We'll see how he gets involved here. How productive. Maybe he's limited. I personally wouldn't play Odell, but if you're desperate at wide receiver, I don't hate it. But love Nick Chubb here. Kareem Hunt, you're probably playing him as a flex. And Austin Hooper, I think is gonna had a pretty decent week last week. No Jarvis Landry. I think Hooper gets more involved here, so I do like Hooper as a nice tight end option for the Browns here. Next matchup, we have the Bengals versus the Steelers. Start on the Bengals side. T. Higgins is going to be out this game. Barring anything crazy, I think he is doubtful. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Jamar Chase is a good play here. And Tyler Boyd are two pretty good plays. You don't love the matchup, but probably going to see a lot of targets in this game here. You're going to roll out Joe Mixon. You don't love the matchup. You're hoping Joe Mixon will get the volume, get a couple catches here, and hopefully he can sneak in the end zone and have a nice have a nice fantasy day here. That's pretty much it for the Bengals side. You're probably not starting Joe Burrow. It's going to be a tough matchup for Burrow. On the Steelers side, no Deontay Johnson. He is going to be out this game. And love Juju. I have Juju in a lot of my leagues. I think, he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of opportunities. So I love Juju. I don't love Big Ben. I mean, Big Ben's coming in banged up. It's going to be it's going to be tough for the Steelers. The Steelers' offense has not looked very good. I think Juju and Claypool, going to be two good options this week. I mean, they're going to get force-fed targets in this offense. And love Najee Harris. Looked really good last week. Should have a solid game against this Bengals D. Hopefully he gets some pass catching work here and can get into the end zone against this Bengals defense. And maybe if you're desperate here at tight end, Pat Freiermuth could be pretty decent. I don't hate him. You just hope the offense can flow more. Maybe without Deontay Johnson, more tight end targets. That could be a possibility. But yeah, those are pretty much the options for the Steelers that I do like. The next matchup, we have the Indianapolis Colts and then the Tennessee Titans. On the Colts side, a lot of questions at quarterback. Who's going to be quarterback? Is it going to be Wentz? Is it going to be Eason? Wentz was able to practice, so I feel like it's going to be Wentz, but we'll still see who ends up being the QB. You're going to start Jonathan Taylor. You hope he has a better game than last week. Hope he can get into the end zone against this pretty bad Tennessee Titans D. They have not looked good so far to start the season. So I do like Jonathan Taylor. And, I do like Michael Pittman, too. He's been really nice as their wide receiver. Kind of been the go-to target for the Colts. That's about the only two options I like there for the Colts, really. They've been struggling so far this season on offense. On the Titans side, you're probably going to play Tannehill just on an elite offense. Hopefully Tannehill can get a nice productive day here. Derrick Henry coming off that monster performance last week. You're firing up Derrick Henry every single week. That's a no-brainer. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, you're rolling them out. Those are two really good options this game here. Sticking with the main options for the Titans, keeping it pretty simple here. All right, next matchup, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. On the Chargers side, love Justin Herbert. Really high over-under here at 54.5, so expect a lot of offense. Love Herbert, love Eckler. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Jared Cook. Those are the options you're rolling out. You should feel good about them. All the main targets for Herbert, heavily involved in the offense. So feel good about starting all of those guys on the Chargers. On the Chiefs side, it's pretty simple. You're starting Pat Mahomes, you're starting Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. But, do you start Clyde Edwards-Helaire? That's the... I don't even hate it. If you have a better option than Clyde, I would much rather play that better option. Clyde has been disappointing, especially where you drafted him. Luckily, you didn't draft him as a number 1 pick. But, looks like his ceiling is maybe 10 points, which that's not good. That's not what you want. If you can't play anyone else, I don't hate it. He has so much potential in this offense, but it's just not really involved too much. But maybe take a shot on Mecole Hardman maybe if you're desperate at wide receiver, but I would stick to just the big 3 for the Chiefs here. Next matchup, we have the Saints versus the Patriots. On the Saints side, I think you can only play Kamara. There's nobody else you can start here. Callaway seemed intriguing to start the season. He's been a bust. Winston had that one game, and then Winston just did not do anything last week, so he definitely hurt you if you were riding off that game after that first week. Their offense looked very bad. Even now, you feel kind of sketchy about Kamara. Horrible week last week. Probably lost a lot of people their matchup starting Kamara. You're rolling out Kamara, but you're hoping he gets more involved. Just didn't do anything last week. Hopefully better days are ahead for Alvin and the Saints. On the Patriots side, I feel like you can only really play Damian Harris. He's got that for sure role, guaranteed touches. The tight ends just have really been non-factors with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. They're not really getting you guys any production. Nelson Aguilar may be a flex. That's really it. I think Damian Harris is, and James White. I forgot about James White. James White, I think, is a really good RB2 flex. He's getting those catches. He's getting carries in the goal line too. Got a touchdown last week. I think the running backs are the only 2 you can play for the Patriots here. The next matchup, we had the Washington football team versus the Buffalo Bills. For Washington, you're not starting Taylor Heineke, no way. Antonio Gibson, you're rolling him out as a nice RB2 here. And then Terry McLaurin and then Logan Thomas. That's really all you can really play for this team. Should feel good about them. I feel like it's going to be a negative game script. They're going to be down. So he's going to have to throw the ball. And those are pretty much all you're going to roll out. On the Bills side, love Josh Allen. He's kind of had a rough start to the season here. I think it's a good spot for Washington. Their defense hasn't looked as great as what they were supposed to be. I think Buffalo's going to be able to throw all over them here. I love Josh Allen. Devin Singletary and Moss, I personally stay away. If you're dealing with a lot of running back injuries, I don't hate Singletary here. He's getting carries and a couple targets. Has a ceiling of maybe 10. 10 points could be all you really need from him. Love Stephon Diggs. Emmanuel Sanders, I think is a good play this week, and Cole Beasley that's really all your, Cole Beasley as a flex. He's got a safe PPR floor, and that's pretty much all I'm rolling out for Buffalo. All right, next matchup, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Las Vegas Raiders. On the Miami side, with no Tua, gosh, I just don't feel like you can start anybody on this team. Myles Gaskin, maybe as a flex. His role didn't look that good last week. We don't know what his role is going to look like moving forward. If you start Myles Gaskin, you're hoping he gets you 8 to 10 points. That's really what you're hoping. Don't know if you can start Gesicki or Waddle. We don't know how this offense is going to look with Brissett at quarterback. I'm just staying away from all Miami Dolphins players. On the Raiders side, no Josh Jacobs. Are you going to start Kenyon Drake or Barber? Probably not against this tough defense. Unless you're super desperate, I don't hate it, but try and find better options. Derek Carr looked really great here. I think you could start Derek Carr and, Darren Waller, an elite tight end player. You're going to start Darren Waller for sure. I don't hate Henry Ruggs or Brian Edwards as a flex. They've been involved. Henry Ruggs coming off that huge game, caught that big touchdown last week. Maybe he can continue it against this Miami defense here. But, I like Carr and Waller are my main 2 plays for the Raiders here. Then we have the Jets versus the Broncos. I don't think you can play anybody from the Jets, even if you're desperate. maybe Corey Davis, but this offense has been so bad. Even Corey Davis let you down last week. I'm staying away from everybody on the Jets. And then Denver, I think you can roll out everybody. Teddy Bridgewater's been really great. He's going to be able to throw all over this team. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, I think you're okay flexing both of them. Noah Fant, love him at tight end. Cortland Sutton coming off a monster week. I love Cortland Sutton here. Maybe take a flyer. Maybe you could potentially maybe flex KJ Hamler in this matchup, Tim Patrick. But I think Sutton, Fant, the running backs, and Teddy are where I'd probably lean for this matchup and start Denver defense. Then the next matchup with the Seattle Seahawks and the Vikings. A lot of players to start here. I feel like you could start everybody on both sides. You're starting Russ. You're starting Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Lockett. Everett coming off that bad week, but he was on the field pretty much the whole game, ran all the tight end snaps for the Seattle. Hopefully he can get in the end zone, get some more targets here. But you're starting everybody for the Seahawks here. And on the Vikings, you're starting everyone for the Vikings too. I love Kirk. I've been personally playing Kirk at quarterback. He's been really great this season. Love Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's been questionable this weekend. If for some reason Dalvin Cook can't go, fire up Alexander Mattison if you do have him. Love Thielen, Jefferson, and as a flex option, KJ Osborne. He's been really no joke. He's been double-digit fantasy points both weeks, been heavily involved in the offense, getting a lot of targets. I kind of don't hate the flex play. I mean, ride it out. He's been really solid in that offense. Going to be a lot of points and opportunities in this game here. All right, next matchup, we have the Buccaneers versus the Rams. On the Bucs side, they're missing Antonio Brown is trending like he's going to be out due to COVID. I highly doubt he plays. If for some reason he plays, play Antonio, but I do think he probably is going to be out. You're starting Tom Brady, 9 touchdowns in 2 games. That's unbelievable. Full confidence in Tom. We know it's going to be a tough game here, but I think it's going to be a battle. 2 great defenses and great teams play each other. The offenses really do show out. Love Tom. I don't think you can start the running backs here. Leonard Fournette and Jones, unless you're dying at running back. I kind of like Fournette more. He's a little bit more involved in the passing game. But you're kind of hoping for 10 points for Fournette, and hopefully he falls in the end zone. And then Mike Evans and Godwin, you're rolling them out for sure, and Gronk. Maybe take a chance on Scotty Miller, but I just think that's too risky. Roll with the main options in this matchup. On the Rams side, love Matt Stafford. I think he's going to have to throw the ball in this Tampa Bay defense here. You're starting Darrell Henderson Jr. You don't love it, but you probably don't have any better options if he's your RB2. It's going to be tough against this Tampa Bay defense, but you're hoping to get some passing work and it can get you 10 points. Love Cooper Kupp. It's been unstoppable. Tampa Bay defense, a lot of injury to the secondary. That's kind of where their weakness is. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be able to throw all over this Bucs team. They're not going to be able to run the ball on them. I love Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp coming off that monster week. And Higbee. I think Higbee coming off that bad week is going to be more involved here, so I do like Higbee. Can't trust the Van Jefferson or Deshaun Jackson. You're hoping for just a huge touchdown, which is unpredictable. Stay away from that. And then the last matchup, we have the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers. On the Packers side, you're starting Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones coming off a 4-touchdown game, which was unbelievable. Robert Tonyan coming off a nice game as well. You're starting Devontae Adams. I think that's really it. Maybe you can't even start MVS. Had no catches last week. You can't play him. Stick with the main players for the Packers. And then for the Niners, a lot of question marks here. I mean, you're rolling out George Kittle, but Kittle's been underperforming here. Hopefully, you picked him up early. You have to play Kittle, but he just hasn't been that impressive so far. A lot of running back concerns here. Elijah Mitchell going to be out. It's going to be Jaquiz Patrick and Trey Sermon at running back. If you have them, go ahead and fire them up. Hopefully they can play a full game and not get injured. You're not playing Garoppolo. And then at receiver, it's Deebo Samuel. You can't play Brandon Ayuk. You can't play him. That's very risky. Roll with Deebo. He's been one of the top receivers in the NFL so far. Love Deebo. You're rolling out Kittle. Hopefully he gets more involved here. And then, the running backs are very questionable. If you have Trey Sermon, you're probably playing him. Hopefully he can go the full game. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Good luck with your fantasy matchups on Sunday. Hope you guys win your matchups, and I'll see you guys Monday. Have a good one.